beautiful day in the neighborhood. I wanted to share 3 of my most favorite words and what they mean to me, and hopefully it will illuminate something in you. And those 3 words are connection, community, and divination. And those 3 things get encompassed in a earth medicine experience. And I'll give you an example. Last Friday, I was able to sit in a process with ayahuasca and a group of about 25 people. And in that space, we are a community and we are partaking in a sacred ceremonial experience where we are sharing an experience that will create and give us the sense of divination in tangible ways in real time. And so I wanted to walk you through a little bit of what that experience is like. There's actually no way to describe it, although there are ways for me to share a little bit of the nuances that are associated with having an experience where earth medicines are involved in a communal, sacred process. And so essentially, everyone comes to a meeting point, and we've all been prepared for a few weeks in how to diet, which looks like eliminating alcohol and other forms of drugs like pharmaceutical drugs or marijuana. We cleanse the body of meats. We have a regimen where we are trying to be as vegan as possible, meaning that if it grows from the ground, it's a yes. If it's very processed, that's a no. And so you start to establish a relationship with food so that you can cleanse the body of any unnecessary toxins, so that when you are taking the medicine, your body is a clean vessel. So already a few weeks out before a ceremony, you're preparing your body for this beautiful, beautiful medicine. So at the point where we are all meeting, a lot of people choose to wear white so that they can feel illuminated and a feeling of lightness through their clothes. I personally like to wear the most vibrant colors because it reminds me of flowers and birds and things that are of beauty. And essentially you come into the space where you feel something bigger than you is going on. And by the time you actually drink the medicine, you have walked through several prayers from the medicine holders. And in these prayers, you are in communion and preparing for communion. And there are a lot of people in the world who are not associated with any kind of religion and associate communion with a religious practice. And this is completely different from that. This is something that is based in the heart. So when your ceremony holders are talking about prayer and the intention behind the experience, everyone is feeling the depth of the meaning and transcendence of an experience that we are all about to have together. And so one by one, each person is called up to the altar and we're given our ceremonial brew. And from that point on, you realize that at this point, your life is in the hands of this cup, and you really don't know what to expect for the people who haven't ever drank medicine before. That you're gonna go on a ride, and it's gonna be a journey, and there are going to be parts of the journey that you could not possibly ever foresee or plan. And that's because with these earth medicines, your mind or your ego goes offline. So you literally are not thinking with your brain. You're feeling with your heart, and you're connected to your spirit. And once everyone has drank this sacred medicine, everyone is journeying in their own way at the same time. And this happens for hours and hours and hours and hours. And throughout the ceremonial process, the facilitators, the shaman, or the guides will invite people to come and drink another cup if it hasn't taken a hold yet, or if the ego is still loud and present. To give you for instance, upon coming into the ceremony, I had a horrible toothache, And my dentist 6 months ago said, Marian, you really have to take care of this spot and make sure that you're not eating any chewy candies or things like that. Otherwise, you might need to have a root canal. And so the day before the ceremony and the day of the ceremony, I was experiencing a lot of pain that I don't ever normally experience. And during the ceremony, I was still feeling this incredible amount of pain in this region of my mouth. And I thought, oh my gosh, this medicine cannot cut through the pain. And of course, I doubted the whole experience for a moment. And then I gave up, surrendered the pain to the ayahuasca. And ayahuasca takes all the pain away for a period of time. And for me, luckily, I was healed of my pain after the ceremony and to this day. But during that process, you're experiencing time non-linearly in the present moment by the medicine showing you parts of your life that were necessary in order to happen for you to gain an understanding of your path, why the experience needed to happen, creating a ton of self-compassion while connected to God in a way where you cannot deny the existence of source energy. And however you get there. Some people go to church to get there. Some people get there through meditation. And I'm here to say that earth medicines can take you to a place where your ego, your fear mind gets put offline, and you are experiencing the oneness of life, the love for yourself, the love for your fellow man, the love for your parents, the love for your children, in real space and time. So fast forward several hours of music, and the music that comes through in the medicine is pure connection. And I had the great privilege of being able to sing and play with the facilitators of this ceremony for 7, 8, 9 hours straight. And what sustains you is the medicine, and the medicine moves through your body through the sound of music. And so all the patients in the room who are experiencing their own divination, their own healing, more self-awareness, awareness in general, the music is guiding their experience, and that music creates a connection, and the connection between the people facilitating the music is so in tune and so perfect that you cannot deny that divination is happening, that you are in a sacred space. And this medicine is what creates part of the healing process. So fast forward several hours, when the medicine has moved through the body and the music is done, we open up the lines of communication, and everyone in the room, if they choose to, shares what they experienced for those 8, 9 hours in ceremonial space. And what I can tell you is that people have the most profound revelations, and these revelations never leave a person. For instance, people will come out of the experience and say, I learned in this ceremony how my children need to be loved versus how I have been loving them. People come out of the ceremony and say, I felt what it was like to be my wife or my husband, and what it was like to deal with me, and what it's like to be in relation with me. And these people are sharing experiences of their most personal life journeys in a group communal setting where everyone has still the medicine in them and is feeling the words of the vibrations that are coming out of these people's mouths through sound, feeling it viscerally in the heart. And everyone is communing in this space together at the same time while each person is sharing. Because what we know is that everyone is having a life experience, and it looks different no matter who you are, but suffering is a part of the human journey. And so when people are in a state of divination, they can see how suffering has led to a point where they were seeking out an avenue through which they could heal, have more awareness, transcend, be more embodied, so that they could have more love in their life. And so community allows people to have space be held for them with zero negativity and zero judgment, while facilitators are holding the space while the medicine is in the body. Then you're connected to each other in that community because you have all gone through hours and hours of purging, of crying, of very uncomfortable body sensation, but sticking to it, knowing that everyone is having their own personal journey. Until I came to the Madre Ayahuasca, I didn't know what divination meant, but I understood what it feels like. And divination is a feeling. In the essence of how I would like to explain it, is that when you are in this experience, your ego, your fearful, controlling self, the parts of you that limit your spirit's expression, is offline. And so then in those moments, you are experiencing your divination, your soul embodied. You're in a space and time where you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you belong here, that there is a force so much bigger than you that lives inside of you, willing for you to love, willing for you to grow, willing for you to accept, willing for you to surrender. And that divination is experienced at a visceral level, and at the same time, you know that everyone around you in the entire world is also a divine being. So it's humbling at the same time. On one hand, you are feeling that you understand the laws of the universe and that there is a source of power that lives inside of your heart, and you are feeling that source of power in your body. And in the medicinal experience, the Madre, she illuminates what feels like a cinematic experience where while your eyes are shut, there's a film going on and you're watching your life in motion. And from an observer's perspective, you are feeling a state of grace and a level of gratitude that can't be spoken or can't be comprehended with words, but it's a form of divination in that you understand the web of life and your part in that web. And that experience is limited to how long your ego is dormant or asleep. And no one really knows why, I guess, we have an ego. But essentially, divination is the result of making a conscious choice to surrender the ego, because essentially spirit is infinite, ego is on a very small leash, and that's why it can only get you so far, listening to your ego. And now with plant medicines and earth medicines, we're finding with meditation that we're able to quiet the ego, which prevents us from experiencing divination. Now, in the problem of, I'd say, some organized religions is people have associated divination with a structure. And in earth medicine, there is no structure. There's only reverence for the planet that produces the plants and fungi that can allow you get to a state where you are experiencing divination through the vehicle of a natural entity. And that entity wants you to experience your own divination so that you can be a better steward, so that you can hear the call of the wild, so that you understand that we are an ecosystem and that the way I take care of you is the way I'll be taken care of. And it ends up becoming a mindset. And so with ayahuasca in particular, I am a missionary of this plant and this medicine because she is the grandmother. And the grandmother can give you a stern teaching while nurturing you through it under the influence of this wise master teacher. She is a grandmother. She loves you. She wants to see you shine. And she's also going to let you know how you have strayed far from your path. And that can include seeing the experiences that you've lived where you've had a lot of suffering. And some of those experiences will have come from your own choice. Some of those experiences will have come from the will of another. And in this experience, we have a level of awareness where we get to own our part and we get to choose consciously where we want to go. We're given gifts through the divination process that are nuggets of gold, that if you leave with these nuggets in your pocket and you willfully exercise them in the outer world after having this internal experience, life rewards you with things like synchronicities. And synchronicities is the most logical form of language in the universe. When you are experiencing synchronicities, you are in pure alignment. And so how can you know what those synchronicities are if you're not even aware of how they've lived in your life? Well, if what I'm saying isn't landing because it's a concept that you may have touched upon or gone, that's a coincidence. Well, there are no coincidences in the universe. And being in these sacred medicinal spaces in communion with a community accelerates the process of synchronicities. And the more you are embodied and the more you spend time by choice in communion with your community, those synchronicities magnify, multiply, and that's why community is so important. And there's no quicker way to find a community than finding your people in these medicinal circles, because we know what the journey is about: self-exploration, outward expression, and we can hold each other accountable. Especially for me, because I champion people who have come to the medicine, and I work to help you integrate what it is that you learned in the experience, so that when you purge the toxins of thought and beliefs, as well as toxins in the body, out into the purge bucket, you are getting, we call it the getting well bucket, because essentially you're getting rid of everything that you don't need. If you adopt the things that you purged or that you released, once you leave the ceremony, then it's like you're drinking up all that you purged. Well, what's the point of that? You're out money, you're out time, you're out energy. Well, it's my job to help you stay accountable to those nuggets of gold that you found in the ceremony, so that you can heal your body, so that you can find relations that are soothing to your soul, that help heal your emotional pain body, and also providing you with a community of people who are doing the same work that you and I are doing. The divination part is what's so beautiful, is because the divination is given access by, in this case, the Madre Ayahuasca, which is a vine that grows in the Amazon jungle. And when combined with another plant called chacruna, it releases DMT in the gut. Now, there are 70,000 plus species of plants in the Amazon jungle. And indigenous people knew back in the day when they were as they are at one and with the earth, these plants communicated to them that in this combination of these two plants, when put together and brewed, that it would release what is called the God molecule out of the gut. And so in this space, you are drinking a medicine and feel such reverence for the planet, that this planet can produce a potion or a liquid or a tea that opens up the channels of awareness, where you understand that source or God or the great creator or Father Sky made love to Mother Earth. And as a result, we get to be here on this beautifully stunning planet. And what matters most is our relation. Our relations are what matter most in life. And if you look around the landscape of life, you can see that there have been horrible atrocities committed to groups of people at some point in time throughout our history. And it started when we began to turn on each other and turn on indigenous groups around the world. And what ayahuasca teaches us is that I am you and you are me, and we are stewards of this beautiful land, and we have to return to the sacred teachings of earth wisdom And the easiest way to do that is to be immersed in nature, learning from people who hear the pulse of the planet and who are in tune with the cycles of life. And since we live in big cities and towns and we've created civilizations and politics to govern humanity, we have lost touch completely with what's wild and natural. And so if you learn anything from this segment, it is to bear witness to the importance of wild nature and to turn towards people who are stewarding the land, taking care of land, and honoring cultures where peace is the goal. Where there is no peace in the external, we cannot have peace in the internal. And so we come to these medicines in the sacred ceremonies to commune with the divine, with our community, to learn these concepts, because we've been so far removed as a society and as a culture to these practices of communing together in sacred space with music to facilitate a medicinal process. And so these three things, divination, communion, and community, are essential to experience on a daily basis. And so how we do that is when we are able to commune in sacred space, let's say quarterly or through the solstices, or for a initiation process, that there may be a large importance in time to have that experience, but throughout the days and throughout the weeks in between, we are communing for musical purposes, we are sharing food, we are growing food, we are helping each other raise each other's children. And in these ceremonial spaces, we remember those concepts. And so the most important thing in life, I'll repeat, is our relations. And at a time when people are suffering tremendously from loneliness and isolation, it's the exact opposite of what we're naturally inclined to do, which is togetherness and to be together and to make love. And I'll add a very interesting snippet of information about testosterone in men, particularly, as men have more testosterone than women biologically. And the more testosterone a man has, the more aggression he's going to feel in his body. And we've created systems in our governments that take advantage of that energy, where if we were raising our children in a communal community style with peace being the goal, we would know that the actual way to alleviate the aggression when there's a level of testosterone is through hunting, is through game, is through roughhousing or exercise, and not finding ways to use the testosterone on each other. And as we get older and men who have testosterone make more love and have more sex and have more children and share the custodial gifts of raising our children, then testosterone levels go down. And right now in our culture, we're seeing men going into clinics and getting injected with testosterone. Well, I won't share my opinions about that, but if we're putting what comes naturally to us in order, then we're gonna find healthy ways to express ourselves. And women have more estrogen. If you identify in a woman's body, you have more estrogen in your body. And what that means is that you have diffuse awareness, which you are becoming very aware of your environment. And you are a natural caretaker, caretaking and nurturing. And these are, you can call them alpha or omega energies. But in these communal states where medicine is being given for the purpose of healing, to increase self-awareness, we become very aware of how these energies play out in our own lives. And then once you have time to think about it, and once you have time to integrate your experience, and when you have a connection that is made, that someone can teach you about the concepts that I'm explaining to you right now, you start to understand that the ways of the world and the programs that we're living by are inherently created to create dis-ease and disharmony within us. So the obvious answer is to turn back time and go to the root of things and to make things simple, which is honoring our planet, looking to indigenous wisdom, to know how to steward lands, and to create communities around nature and in nature, and ultimately decriminalizing and making earth medicines legal so that there aren't any negative repercussions for communing in this way. And what we need are people to help illuminate and educate about what it is that we're talking about here, to create trusted guides, and to get people to start trusting again. The trust in a facilitator, in a medicine holder, is so important and incredibly vital, and all of that comes from a feeling. And so if you have felt disconnected from your feelings or your emotion, it's going to be really hard to know where to go. So I invite you to participate in any way that you feel feels good for you in looking at other content that I've created in order to illuminate the process of earth medicines and what it entails. And if you are interested on any level in experiencing this communion with a community in divination, I encourage you to subscribe to my website, where you can get on a mailing list, so that when it's time to invite you to an experience that will provide you with some of the things that I just shared, you can choose to do that if you wish.